So thank you so much. We're excited to introduce our new 3 areas today. And so Dr. Karen Ingram, our Istation star, is going to present it for us. Karen?
Thank you so much. Well, welcome Istation, Red Cape Nation, to Istation's April Product Release Showcase. Woo! We will kick off this showcase by viewing a video that shows us the new content in Istation's early reading product. Take it away. Well, I have the privilege of sitting here with members of the Istation Early Reading Product Team. Hi.
Hi.
Please introduce yourselves to the audience.
Hello, I'm Sandy Smith. I'm the Early Reading Curriculum Manager.
I'm Amy Mora, an Early Reading Curriculum Development Specialist.
And I'm Brandon Butler. I'm an interactive designer.
All right. So tell the audience about the challenges that you all face writing passages to address nonfiction genres for early learners.
Sure thing, Karen. As you know, early readers are limited by their decoding abilities in terms of what they can read independently. And so that's why usually in the classroom, when we introduce a new concept that is maybe a little abstract or a little new, such as a comprehension strategy, or in this case, a characteristic of a certain genre, we would typically use a teacher-led read aloud or maybe a shared reading experience.
The Genre Explorer is no different. It's scaffolded similarly to the way we would do it if we were teaching it in the classroom. The model text is written a little bit beyond what the student can read by themselves. It was a challenge to keep the text concise enough to hold students' attention, but rich enough to teach the necessary characteristics.
Wow, this really sounds like advanced content for young readers.
It really is, Karen, and the way we assess that is we shifted gears a little bit from when the students are interacting with the text and the teach piece. We wanted to go more of a game route to check for understanding, which is how the team came up with the Hullaballoon game. And in this game, the students select a balloon that has the text characteristic or a text characteristic of the genre that they just learned about, and then they hear the characteristic read aloud in the balloon.
Right, and when the student selects their balloon choice, they can click OK to submit their answer. And we also have a tracker on the right that allows the student to basically track their progress.
So our goal was to make the game fun and engaging for students, but also to provide support and feedback for them as well.
Well, it sounds like the balloon popping mini game is short and fun. Right? Mm-hmm. So why do you feel that it's important to have these little mini games that are kind of a payoff to answering correctly?
Well, I can answer that. So early reading, we have students as young as kindergarten. And if you look at some of our story activities, there's a lot of text on the screen and there's a lot of information that we want the students to absorb and learn. And so we kind of knew early on in the design process that we needed some kind of reward system to reward the students for completing all this material. And that's where we kind of came up with the balloon popping mechanic. And of course that led to the balloon popping mini game. And we just wanted it to be as fun as possible. That was our main focus. And so one of the things that we added was increasing velocity. So with the balloons, as they're flying off the screen and the students are clicking all the balloons that they can, it starts getting faster and faster and faster. And it turned out to be a lot of fun for adults too. So yeah, so we did that and that was a success and that was a lot of fun. And so now we're trying to implement something new, which is a point value system. So the students can see their score on the screen, and using that they can hopefully be motivated to try to beat their score. We also have scores on each particular balloon, but the ones, of course, at the end that come up faster are worth more. So the students are just going crazy. Yeah.
And then what are the plans for additional lessons for other genres?
Well, this is just a snippet of the many more genres that we have planned to come in the future. In addition to the nonfiction genres we've already released, we also plan to include biography and how-tos.
As well as fiction genres like fairy tales, folk tales, and fables.
And pretty much everything in between.
So keep your eye out for our gecko friend and other new characters as we take your students on their
Journey through genres.
Right. And you know, I really think that this new content for early reading, I really think that it raises the bar for how to teach nonfiction to young learners. So I have to say, I'm just really excited about it. So let's hear it for our early reading team.
Thank you.
Well, coming up next, we're going to speak with members of the math team. I'm excited because the new content teaches geometry, so I'm real excited to see how things are shaping up. Okay, here we are with members of the math team. Hi.
Hi, Karen.
Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Stephanie Nolan. I'm the math curriculum manager, also known as the math boss.
I'm Casey Smith. I'm the interactive team lead for early math.
I'm Jennifer Newell. I'm a curriculum development specialist for math for 2 through 5.
Awesome. So tell us what's new in the early math.
All right. Well, in early math, Donnie, Sticks, and Angel, the math superstars, are continuing their tour throughout the country as they hit different roadside attractions. And we're excited to introduce our newest one, which is a fruit stand. There they get to experience weighing different fruits and vegetables and also measuring different lengths of carrots, like which one's longer, which one's shorter. With that, we have a total of 7 lessons that we're releasing. 4 of those are measurement. As mentioned before, we have scale for comparative weight. Then we also have comparative length. With that, we also have identifying coins based on value or by name. So you get to experience, that's their first introduction into coins, which is obviously pretty important. We also have one algebra lesson where students are classifying items and then they're sorting them into groups based on some of their attributes. And then also, as you mentioned earlier with shaping things up, we have 2 geometry lessons where kids are exposed to 2D objects, but then also their first experience into 3D objects as well.
And what about the secret agents in grades 2 through 5? What are they up to?
The secret agents are up to analyzing data and algebraic thinking. We have 3 data analysis lessons that are all about graphing, picture graphs, bar graphs, using a scale with your picture graph. So one object will represent 2 items, 5 items, or 10. And then also using a skip counting scale with a bar graph. So a scale of 2, 4, 6, 8, and students have to graph on those. For algebra, we have a lesson that I'm really proud of because it's one that I wrote. It's evaluating expressions using parentheses, and a lot of research went into this because it's a skill that students need further on. So I've looked at our new ISIP assessment, the ISIP Algebra Readiness. I've worked on that, so I know where kids are going. So I look backwards from there, and I make sure that everything is grade appropriate when we talk about the order of operations and solving these expressions.
Okay, great. All right, are there any updates to the website?
There are updates to the website. We continue to expand our presence on Istation.com in a bunch of different ways. We've added a bundle of new correlations that are state specific. We've also done a little work to make our teacher resources easier to navigate. We added a new tag for teachers to use that if you put the tag math game into the search bar, all of our lessons that have some kind of game gameplay to them come up as a search find. And so that makes them easier to find. And as teachers are looking for tools for learning centers, for end of the year activities, games are going to be a good way for them to practice those math skills. We've also listened really carefully to our customers and have added some fact practice to the teacher resources on the website. And I think if you take a look at those games and activities, you'll find that they're way more fun than flashcards and things like that. And then finally, we continue to add to our parent portal, and that's another place where we get a lot of requests from our customers. Is like, what are we doing to help our parents? And so we're adding some activities and things as the parents start to look at, what am I going to do with my kid in the summer? We're going to provide some resources for them in the parent portal.
Oh, well, that's awesome. But Stephanie, you brought some things with you today.
I did.
Tell us about it.
I actually brought 2 real-life parents with me today. Casey is a dad of 2 littles, Eden and Bowen, and then Jennifer is a boy mom of 3. I think she looks very good for a boy mom of 3 for sure. She has a high schooler, a 3rd grader, and a little who will be starting kindergarten in the fall. Do you want to shout out to your kids in case they're watching?
Hi,
guys.
Hi, Eden. Hi, Bowen.
What we know is math is all around us, and so we're looking for ways in our parent portal to give our parents, whether they're littles or whether they're bigs, tools that they can use. And I just wanted to share with just one example of something that you could do at home that takes little to no prep, and the materials are all right at your fingertips. As you're heading out of the grocery store, grab the grocery store sales circular. And then just at a glance, there's lots and lots of math here. Depending on your age of your child, you can ask all kinds of great questions. I think about Bowen, who's just almost 4. He might find shapes or colors, or I think about these mangoes that are on sale 3 for $1. Your 3rd grader Josh is learning multiplication, so you might say to him, hey, if I have $5, how many mangoes can I get? 3 for $1. Quick and easy.
What I love is that it's 2 pages. So you can always set up your kids who are different ages who can't share just the one on one side, one on the other side. Your kids can be working together, doing different skills. My 5-year-old can be tracing the numbers, finding numbers. My older kiddo, my 3rd grader, he could be looking at the multiplication or rounding out of those numbers on the paper.
And with my daughter Eden, who's in kindergarten, we actually did an activity just like this before she went into kindergarten, and we'd have her group things based on shape. She'd find squares or circles. It's like, oh, there's oranges and grapes. Those are circles. She'd also group things by numbers, colors, different attributes, things that really apply to the lessons that we're teaching with our Istation material.
Awesome. I think parents and teachers are going to love the fact that they can just use household items to practice math.
They can just use something that they have and recycle it. I do want to note that the web publishing is on a little bit of a different time frame than the runtime. So the lessons that Jennifer and Casey talked about are already in the runtime. These web updates will be available at the end of April. So look for fact practice and math games and parent portal ideas at the end of this month. But this one little activity is very much like the activities that we provide for parents in the parent portal. Easy to access, quick to use, and all of the resources that you need are available. Either you have them at home or they're a part of the download that we can access on the parent portal.
Okay, that's amazing. As usual, let's hear it for the math team. Okay, let's recap. So far, we've been able to view content from the early reading program and the math program. So if you were with us on the last 2 releases, you were able to get an inside look at Timeless Tales 2.0 Level 1 and Level 2. So today, we're going to take it to the next level. That's right. And we're going to view content from Level 3. Take it away.
We're back. Hub Sweet Home.
I have with me members of the Timeless Tales 2.0 Next Level team. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Introduce yourselves.
I'm Jessica Peters, and I'm one of the curriculum writers for Timeless Tales 2.0.
And I'm Justin Bloomer. I'm one of the interactive programmers for Timeless Tales 2.0.
Well, I have to say that in Timeless Tales level 1 and level 2, the students discovered that there was this data corruption going on. And I just have to know, is the world coming to an end? All right. Is the world coming to an end? And is this going to be corrected? I need to know. I need you to tell me about level 3.
We can't tell you everything about level 3 because spoilers. But we can tell you that you do figure out what is causing that data corruption. We actually set out with Timeless Tales 2.0 to do a hero's journey, which is what Paige was always talking about in Timeless Tales. And so far we've kind of met characters, we've done the exposition pieces, and we've figured out the problem, which is that data corruption. Level 3 is where you finally solve that mystery, and you get to find out what's behind it and kind of how it's going to be fixed. You don't do all the fixing level 3, but you figure out how. We also really are excited about what we're teaching in level 3. We're getting into some of that harder, more abstract content. We're teaching how to analyze argument. And so students are really going to be focusing on identifying claims and analyzing evidence and whether the reasoning is sound or faulty, which can be really, really tough, especially with middle school students. And one of the things that we did differently this time is we have a different art style for our COD, which is our content on demand. They're like little vignettes, kind of like little videos that kids can watch for each academic term. So this time, though, we took those academic videos for the different parts of argument and we put them into a PDF so that parents and teachers could access that. So a teacher could go into teacher resources and find the PDF version of our content and use it with their classroom, which is pretty cool for them. I would use it if I were still teaching. Level 3. Oh, level 3 virtual world is a text adventure, which for those of us that played video games when we were younger, back when DOS was still a thing, we played a text adventure or two. But it's kind of new for kids. So it's interesting because we updated it and they're still going to be kind of exploring this space, but it's a lot of reading and a lot of critical thinking and deciding which path they want to take, which leads to a lot of really cool stuff for them. Additionally, every exercise that they do in this level really ties into the plot. So if they're analyzing an argument, there's a part where they build an argument. They're doing it because that argument is crucial to what's happening in the story. And all of the content and all of those activities is also full of plot. So it's really what we were trying to accomplish the whole time, and we really feel like we did that with level 3.
Okay, amazing. So tell us what challenges your team faced when trying to create level 3.
So with level 3 is the largest level we've released so far. So there's a lot more content, and with a lot more content, that means a lot more of challenges that go forward. So as Jessica was mentioning, in the virtual world in this level, we have a text-based adventure. It's where you get to interact with these new characters that you meet. So you have a much more engaging interaction with them where they seem more lively and you see a wide range of emotions that they express as well. And then in addition to that, since there's a text adventure, we wanted to make sure the students had many options to go through and that each person can have their own unique adventure. So there's so many different ways you can go in order to reach the end. And with that means you will never be able to see the same, or well, more accurately, it's going to be difficult to see all the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Right, you'd have to replay. I know that a week before we released, Justin was asking about a piece of art or something, and he mentioned it, and I was like, okay, and played back through it, and I went on a path that I had forgotten that I wrote. So there's a lot of replayability. Even for those of us who made this game, we're still like, oh yeah, that does happen if you go that way.
I was going to say that's one of the best parts about that area. Mm-hmm. And then also with it, with the COD, our content on demand, where we teach argument, claim, evidence, reasoning. We even teach faulty reasoning in there. Mm-hmm. The new style that Jessica was mentioning, this is a more comic style. So the students get to see a live action comic play out right in front of them, which is very much more engaging than just watching a simple instructional video. Mm-hmm. They really want to be like, oh, this is kind of really interesting to watch, and they see really funny stuff happen, and they got some very funny sounds as well. And that way it's very snappy, it's fast paced, but it helps teach such a complex concept in a much easier, simpler way to understand.
Okay, amazing.
I say, and also one other thing.
That's fine.
I'll say,
yeah, I know.
we got.
Go ahead.
I'll say
That's
we got
fine.
lots of challenges here. So for our arcade, we included several more words. Was the other thing we wanted to make sure with this level we were able to give out some more vocabulary so students can have more capabilities or more options to play in the games. So for an Abnarwal, Lab Lockdown, our card match, and even the new game that we'll mention in a little bit here for y'all, we've got more words that you can play through. And also, real quick on that virtual world, it's the only reason we were able to get this out. Hey, it's a big place.
As you can see, we overcame many challenges.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of challenges.
I was like, it's thanks to our QA team, they were able to really test through every possibility. So every single choice, every way you could have played this level, they went through all of it just because with this many challenges, there's so many issues that could be out there. They made sure it was this perfect to go out.
Right. So we had challenges, but players won't have challenges.
Exactly. We
that's
made
good.
sure it's safe for them.
That's a good thing. Okay. Well, you mentioned arcade. So tell us about, everybody loves arcade. So tell us about the new game.
So the new game is it's a game that teaches affixes. So it's a word building game. We give them a sentence, and in the blank there's a base word that they need to select the correct prefix or suffix, or in some cases both, because the complexity in middle school is a little bit higher. And the story of the game is that you are playing an alien who is trying to abduct cows for your alien purposes. And those cows you have to select with your tractor beam that you drag around the screen so that you can see them, and you tap on them to abduct them. And if you try to abduct a cow that's not correct, it runs away. You also have a farmer who follows your light, and you obviously do not want to get caught by the farmer because then he knows that aliens are real. And that would just be too much. What else about this game?
I'll say also in the game, one of the fun things is you got a little raccoon character.
Mm-hmm.
They like to, raccoons, they like to sneak around, go through the garbage, all that good stuff.
Good stuff.
I mean, that's what raccoons do.
Sure.
You can't really stop them. So, but you can in this game. You can actually shine your tractor beam on the raccoon, and it kind of makes him freak out, and he runs away. But if you're lucky, he might leave maybe a diamond ring out there or some other trash that helps give you some bonus points that you can get in this game. And I'll say, as Jessica said, the farmer is very fun. You can actually make him follow your tractor beam.
You
and
can.
If you make him follow him around, some funny stuff can happen out there.
That's true. And the art style, we always try to do a different art style with each of our arcade games so that every person's favorite game style is represented. In this one, all of our characters are kind of round and like marshmallowy.
Oh, yeah, the marshmallow cows.
Yes, the marshmallow
They're
cows.
awesome.
The alien is marshmallowy. The farmer's There's just a lot of marshmallows. So it's a pretty cute game, even for adults. Like I personally would love to have a stuffed animal of these animals. And so I don't know.
I say, definitely need to make those.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It just sounds, the whole thing sounds like so much fun. But how do you know you're reaching adolescence?
So we take a lot of steps to make sure that we're incorporating what they think is funny and what is interesting to them. One of the things we did recently is we went out to a middle school here in Dallas, and we gave a career day talk. And so we took, 10 people?
I would say, I think there was 10 of us all together.
Yeah, 10 of us that did all different things on the team, and we presented kind of what our roles were and how we got there. So they were learning about career day stuff. But we also spent some of that time, brainstorming with them about stuff they want to see in a game, or things that they think are great, things that they don't think are so great. And I think that was one really beneficial way for us to make sure that what we're doing is connecting.
I'll say we also got to get a little brainstorm with them too. That was the best part. Actually hear kind of ideas like, here's something we're going to have to teach you eventually. What do you think about it? How would you like to learn this?
We also had a kid request a page turner Easter egg, which was
Oh, yeah.
really cool and surprising.
Luckily, we had something planned for that.
True. Okay.
Also, we did playtesting just this past weekend where we actually had students come to our office here in Dallas, and
wow.
they were able to play through our level 3 a little bit, and also some of the content we're building now. So we're actively having them engaged to try and figure out, are we going in the right direction? Is this something that's going to keep your interest? And make sure even for one of the games we want to build later on in the future, is this something that you would actually want to play?
Because we take a lot of risks when we're building if you don't know exactly what kids like.
Right.
So, for example, in level 3, we have a character in the virtual world who uses a lot of slang incorrectly. And so it's slang that kids would know, but adults are not super sure on. Like, we had to make sure that that would actually be funny to them because I'm not 12. But, you know, it was a big hit in playtesting, so we know that kind of confirmed that we were on the right track as far as capturing, like, their humor and their interests, which is really important to us.
And, you know, getting feedback from adolescents means that you all have a conscientious effort for trying to reach them. I love it. I think it's amazing.
I was like, that is our goal here.
Yeah.
So let's hear it for the Timeless Tales 2.0 Next Level team. Well, as always, I would like to thank all of our presenters for participating today and giving us an inside look at our new content and being a part of this showcase release. It has been really amazing, hasn't it? And I hope that you all have, in our studio audience and the people out there in virtual world, I hope that you all have enjoyed hearing all about the new content in our early reading program, our math program, as well as our Timeless Tales 2.0 Next Level program. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'd like for you to share this. Share this with your friends. Share this live feed stream from Facebook with your friends. And you can look for us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and all of the other social media platforms. So see you later, Red Cape Nation.